Good evening. Thanks for joining us. I'm Bruce Frisco. It is Thursday, the 7th of May. This is CTV News. Tonight, assassinated for a gold chain. A judge sentences a killer to life in prison. Why one maritime pharmacy chain is pulling an energy drink from its maritime stores. And parkas, politeness, and poutine. A new survey finds we're getting tired of Canadian cliches.
Live from our Maritimes News Center, this is CTV News. Here is Bruce Frisco.
Good evening. A man who executed a pair of Moncton seniors in 2019 has been handed a life sentence. Jansen Baker was sentenced today for the killings of Bernard and Rosemary Saunier. CTV's Derek Haggett was covering the proceedings.
Relief and closure for the Saunier family.
We can't explain. What a relief today is. Yeah.
Jansen Baker was sentenced to life imprisonment without being eligible for parole for 25 years for the murders of Bernard and Rosemary Saunier. The mandatory sentences will be served concurrently. The Dieppe couple were both shot in the head inside their home on September 7, 2019. Exactly 4 years later, Baker was charged with 2 counts of first-degree murder. Today, court heard 7 emotional victim impact statements.
Oh my gosh. And they speak so well with their emotions. I mean,
Luc Saunier, the victim's oldest son, said, "Shattered. We are shattered." Other family members spoke about nightmares, anxiety, fear, and a never-ending grief. Baker sat motionless and stared from the prisoner's dock. Before the judge sentenced Baker, he asked him if he had anything to say. Baker replied, "No, not really. It's under appeal. I'll have my day in court." Baker's attorney confirmed Baker is in fact filing an appeal.
It can take some time. It's a complicated case. There were a number of legal rulings. There were a number of rulings that, in my view, are problematic and probably upon review reversible, but we'll see.
Justice Cameron Gunn spoke directly to Baker, saying, "You took the lives of 2 elderly, helpless people in the sanctity of their home. You herded them like animals into a bedroom. You assassinated them for the price of a gold chain." Baker is also prohibited from possessing firearms and weapons for life and from having any communication with anyone who read their victim impact statements today. Derek Haggett, CTV News, Moncton.
And there's a significant update on another high-profile murder case in Moncton. 2 people originally charged with the first-degree murder of Melissa Price have had those charges reduced. They are now facing joint second-degree murder charges. Price's body, you'll recall, was discovered in a garbage bin back in February. Devlin O'Blennis and Leandra Bullio were charged in March, but the alleged offenses were downgraded today. They will be back in court later this month. A former Halifax bouncer who's appealing a manslaughter conviction was back in court today after being sentenced to prison. Alexander Levy was sentenced just a couple of weeks ago for manslaughter and criminal negligence causing the death of Ryan Sawyer outside the Halifax Ale House on Christmas Eve 2022. Prosecutors did not want him released during the appeal process.
Essentially, we had argued that the appeal grounds were weak and that the offense committed or that he was convicted of was strong. And for that reason, public confidence would favor him being held in custody.
We have certainly a strong appeal to mount, and we think that it is just that he is released so that if, of course, we're successful, he hasn't served a term in jail that was unnecessary.
In the end, the judge granted the appeal, and Levy was released on a $10,000 surety posted by his mother. Among other conditions, he's got a curfew and is prohibited from working in bars or nightclubs. RCMP say several raids last month across 3 provinces were linked to a wider investigation involving transnational organized crime. Police carried out several search warrants on April 26th in Nova Scotia, New Brunswick, and Hamilton, Ontario. A spokesperson said the searches were part of an investigation targeting organized crime, drug trafficking, and money laundering. Nova Scotia's government, you'll recall, issued a directive last year for police to crack down on unlicensed cannabis shops. The Canadian press says the Nova Scotia government was not immediately available for comment on the story today.
Get the Maritimes top stories, breaking news alerts, and watch live. Download the CTV News app.
Talks between the Nova Scotia government and striking nursing home workers resumed today. The two sides went back to the bargaining table late this afternoon after the union requested it and the province accepted. It's believed both sides are ready to present counter proposals in hope of finding some common ground on a new contract for workers in long-term care homes across the province. We're told picket lines will stay in place until a new deal is reached, and there's been no word on progress or anything this evening. Employees from 31 of 52 homes represented by CUPE have been on strike since the 13th of this month. Nova Scotia Premier Tim Houston back in the office today after another trip to Texas, hoping to drum up interest in oil and gas exploration around here. While he defended the merits of the trip, he again had nothing concrete to show for it. That has critics claiming there's not much interest in what he's selling. Houston, though, pointed to an offshore license granted last week to a British company. But critics note the same firm was denied an application here in 2023.
Those bids were coming regardless of those trips. It's more rhetoric from the Premier, who didn't really focus on economic development at all in his first term.
You don't get that level of interest and that level of commitment from sitting in question period across the street. You get that by going out and looking people in the eye and building relationships.
Houston says Nova Scotia is still catching up with oil and gas, pointing to previous federal policies that banned and restricted their development. Energy drinks have become a popular go-to beverage for young people in particular, but growing criticism of their high caffeine and sugar content has prompted one pharmacy chain to pull them from the shelves around here. CTV's Josh Smith has more.
I think it's now time for the government to move upon and to move with a serious piece of legislation that would allow us to protect the children.
A Quebec politician tabled a petition to ban energy drink sales to minors under 16. That move followed the death of a 15-year-old Quebec boy who reportedly drank a can while on ADHD medication.
The Léger poll stated 86% of Quebecers are supporting the measure.
A petition gathered 35,000 signatures. Now a Quebec-based company that owns Jean Coutu outlets in New Brunswick now says they're pulling energy drinks from 455 stores in both provinces.
So I just don't think they're really safe for anybody under, especially under the age of 20.
Here at home, this Moncton pharmacist says caffeine isn't the only concern. Another common ingredient can have safety issues in higher amounts.
They're also laced with taurine, which is an amino acid, and that can have deleterious effects on the heart. So it might stimulate maybe AFib or some kind of irregular heartbeat.
High school students in Moncton say energy drinks are a regular part of student life.
I see a lot of students bringing back like 4 or 6 Red Bulls and being like, oh, trying to build up my tolerance, but it's really bad for them. So I definitely support that.
In a statement to CTV News, the Canadian Beverage Association says it respects the decisions of all retailers and says energy drinks are already strictly regulated by Health Canada's Supplemented Food Regulatory Framework, a rigorous evidence-based framework mandating product caffeine limits, packaging to clearly disclose caffeine content, and a cautionary statement outlining those who may be sensitive to caffeine. Clear communication, transparent labeling, and public education remain our strongest tools for ensuring informed caffeine consumption for all consumers, regardless of age. CTV reached out to Jean Coutu following their decision for comment, but the company responded by saying it had no announcements to make. Josh Smith, CTV News, Moncton.
A popular and glamorous fundraiser in Halifax on this Thursday night.
Early detection does remain the greatest unmet need. That's why our presence here tonight matters so very much. Every dollar raised brings us closer to an earlier diagnosis, better treatments, and will ultimately save lives.
Tonight marked the return of the Lady Ball, a huge event in support of Ovarian Cancer Canada. The event at the Steel Wheels Auto Museum is billed as one where style, celebration, and community come together. Every dollar raises life-saving research, supports those affected by the disease, and amplifies awareness where it's really needed the most.
Ovarian cancer is one of the most fatal women's cancer. So today, across the country, 8 women are going to learn that they have the disease, and they're also going to learn that outcomes really have not changed in this space for over 50 years. So this event and the work of Ovarian Cancer Canada is working to change that. So we've just announced a $725,000 research funding project right here in Halifax with Dr. Boudreau, where we are really investing in transforming lives.
CTV's Suzette Beliveau was one of the role models of tonight's event, which raised an impressive $170,000. All of this is very timely. Tomorrow is World Ovarian Cancer Day. Still to come tonight, Kaylin's full forecast and renewed concern about dealing with rodent droppings after that high-profile case of Hanta virus on a cruise ship. Coming up next, though, renewed hope.
There's been a lot of anxiety over the past few weeks after learning, but it's nice to finally have a few questions answered.
Dairy workers say they're feeling more optimistic after a union meeting this week. Details are next. Stay with us.
Mornings with Aaron and Peter. Join us tomorrow for another Foodie Friday nostalgic edition. Think school lunches that mom never packed.
And we'll give away bike number 8 of 31 from Canadian Tire.
So workers at the Sussex dairy plant went into a union meeting with little hope of keeping their jobs beyond the official closure date. However, by the time that the union meeting was over yesterday, they were feeling kind of optimistic. CTV's Avery McRae tells us why.
Feel a little bit better having met with them, and there's been a lot of anxiety over the past few weeks after learning. But it's nice to finally have a few questions answered.
2 weeks ago, staff from Dairytown learned that the plant would cease operations by the end of 2028, resulting in 60 job losses in the community. For around an hour, employees spoke with union officials from Unifor in a closed-door meeting. While no one would discuss what was said in the meeting, workers like John Bellier left feeling more optimistic.
We're positive, morale-wise, and in the future of the company, whichever way it goes, we're staying positive about it.
As for what comes next following the meetings, Atlantic Regional Director for Unifor Jennifer Murray says the province will continue to put pressure on both the province and Agripor in hopes of finding a way to save the facility. But at the same time, she wants workers to know things won't change overnight.
It's pretty gloomy to think that in a very short period of time, our members may be out of work, but the key message here is that their union has their backs.
Avery McRae, CTV News, Sussex, New Brunswick.
Thank you, Avery. Time for a quick little break here, but when we return, your complete maritime weather forecast. So is the rain going to end? Kaylin knows. You will too when we come back. Thursday evening, 7th day of May. Not going to lie, kind of another dreary sort of day around here. We did, we got some rain and it was warmer, but...
Yeah, you'd like to see a little bit of sunshine.
I think we all would.
Well, have that coming up in the forecast for you for Friday.
Okay.
That was a good soaking across the Maritimes, though, from this weather system. Some rainfall reports, generally around 15 to 35 millimeters. Had a few downpours, a few small thunderstorms with it. It was along this weather front that has now cleared the region. And in behind it, for the rest of tonight, we've got a few clouds around, maybe a little bit of patchy fog and drizzle. If there is any fog around first thing Friday morning, that'll be dissipating. And then for the rest of the day, generally a mix of sun and cloud for the Maritimes. Now, Friday afternoon into Friday evening with some of those clouds, a couple of them could develop into some isolated showers, but the coverage of those showers should be widely scattered. So for most communities, it's about a 30 or 40% chance. Winds in the forecast for tomorrow will be out of the northwest. It'll be a little bit breezy with some gusts between 20 and 40 kilometers per hour, but that's down significantly compared to some of the winds we've had around the Maritimes over the past couple of days. So breezy instead of the sort of gustier conditions. Most of the low temperatures in the forecast for tonight for the Maritimes will be around the low to mid single digits. A little bit milder for a few areas, including around the Atlantic coastline of Nova Scotia, a few parts of Prince Edward Island as well, where some of the lows could hold in the range of between 6 and 8 degrees. Here's a look at the high temperatures in the forecast for Friday in the north of New Brunswick, near 13 for Campbellton, 14 for Bathurst, and 13 for Plaster Rock. It'll be 14 degrees for Fredericton for tomorrow, near 12 for Grand Manan, and 13 for Campobello and St. John, 13 degrees for Moncton in the southeast as well. For Prince Edward Island, 10 at Tignish and O'Leary, 12 though at Summerside and Charlottetown, 10 at St. Peter's Bay, and then 8 degrees for Surrey. Sydney and Cape Breton tomorrow with a high temperature near 9 degrees, but milder at Baddeck, closer to 14. Same thing goes for Port Hawkesbury. On the north shore of Nova Scotia, New Glasgow and Antigonish near 13 degrees. On the eastern shore, 10 for Canso, 12 for Ecum-Secum, and then 13 for Sheet Harbour. 15 for Halifax for tomorrow, 14 for Truro, and 13 at Amherst. In the Annapolis Valley, the high temperatures will be near 13 degrees. And then on the south shore of Nova Scotia, high temperatures near 11 for Yarmouth, but closer to 15 at Shelburne as well as Liverpool. Taking a look at the extended forecast for New Brunswick, coming up for the start of the weekend on Saturday. Mix of sun and cloud, high temperatures in the mid to high teens. Low teens on Sunday with some showers in the forecast. Monday looking cloudy, and then rain looking more likely to arrive Monday night into early Tuesday. So rain possible on Tuesday of next week. After that, a return to a mix of sun and cloud for Wednesday and Thursday. And for Nova Scotia in the forecast coming up for the start of the weekend, it's a mix of sun and cloud on Saturday. High temperatures around the low to mid-teens. On Sunday, it cools by a couple degrees. It's cloudier. There's some showers expected. Monday during the day, a lot of cloud cover around, and then rain looking likely to arrive Monday night into Tuesday. After that, a mix of sun and cloud for Wednesday, and then a chance of showers on Thursday of next week. And for Prince Edward Island coming up on Saturday, it's a mix of sun and cloud. High temperatures near 15 degrees. Close to 14 on Sunday with some showers returning. There'll be a chance of showers during the day on Monday, then some rain Monday night into Tuesday. And then after that, a mix of sun and cloud for Wednesday and Thursday of next week. Bruce.
All right, thank you, my friend. We'll step aside for just a couple of minutes. Stay with us. Be right back.
#1 morning show in Halifax. Turk, Megan, and Amateur Alex. And home to the biggest artists. Halifax's #1 hit music station. 101.3 Virgin Radio.
You've doubtless been hearing a lot about Hanta virus this week after a rare form of the virus turned up on a cruise ship. It's particularly worrisome because that strain can be transmitted between humans. It's rare because hantavirus is usually spread by inhaling rodent droppings. Health experts say this is all a good reminder to be very careful if you come across those waste products. Here's CTV's Hafsa Arif.
A broom, a vacuum, opening an old cottage for the first time in months. Experts say those everyday moments can carry hidden risks.
All hantaviruses are primarily transmitted from rodents to humans.
Some concern is growing after a deadly hantavirus outbreak linked to a cruise ship overseas killed 3 people. This strain can be transmitted from one person to another.
Our priorities are to ensure the affected patients receive care, that the remaining passengers on the ship are kept safe and treated with dignity, and to prevent any further spread of the virus.
But experts insist the strain being tracked there is different from the one found here.
In Canada, we have something called the Sonombre virus. So it's the predominant species of hantavirus found both in Canada and the United States. It does cause a respiratory disease, very much like the Andes virus does.
While the cases remain rare in the country, the virus can cause serious illness.
It's a very similar clinical course as what we're seeing with the situation on the cruise ship. The sole exception, though, is Sanombre virus does not transmit from human to human.
Usually when it happens in Canada, it's linked to rodent droppings.
The first thing is to make sure you have PPE, which is the personal protection equipment. The disinfectant should be used to moisten the rodent droppings.
The key is to make sure the droppings do not become airborne.
It allows the dry rodent, the droppings to absorb the disinfectant, to moisten it. And also if you have any bacteria, any pathogens, that it helps to disinfect it.
While the outbreak may worry travelers and cottage goers alike, experts say Canada has a system in place to detect cases.
I do think we have the appropriate procedures in place to catch it quickly and to make it an isolated event.
Hafsa Arif, CTV News, Halifax.
Thank you, Hafsa. Time for one final break tonight. Coming up, having fun with Canadian cliches. First, though, it's your wake-up weather. Here's a live look at Argyle Street in downtown Halifax on this Thursday night. Lots of folks out enjoying the current 9 degrees. Kaylin's wake-up weather is coming up next. Stay with us.
Start your morning with us for what you need to start your day. News, weather, and even a little fun. Your Morning Atlantic with Amanda Devison, Crystal Garrett, and Latavia Beezer. Weekdays from 6 to 9 on CTV2 and CTVAtlantic.ca.
Okay, it's Friday morning. We'll kick it off with a look at the wake-up weather from Kaylin Mitchell.
And first thing in the morning, there might be a little bit of fog around parts of the Maritimes, but that'll be dissipating as we move from the morning hours into the afternoon. It'll be sunnier in general tomorrow for the Maritimes than it was today. A fair weather mix of sun and cloud. Afternoon to early evening, though, a couple little pop-up showers may develop around the Maritimes, pretty scattered in their coverage. Most of the high temperatures on Friday will be around the low to mid-teens. Bruce.
Thank you, sir. See you again tomorrow. Well, from politeness to poutine, a new survey suggests that a lot of Canadians are just getting tired of the way we're stereotyped in pop culture. Of course, it's just like us to have a little fun with all of it, too. Here's CTV's Ryan McDonald.
Hey! There's not going to be any fight without Scott Riles and the incredibly polite Canadian news team.
Canadian cliches are commonplace in pop culture, and as the stereotype would have it, we're typically pretty good-natured about them.
I mean, aside from oot and a boot, it's saying sorry all the time, and I'm really sorry, but I don't mind apologizing.
But according to a new survey by the Writers Guild of Canada, Canadians are finding it a bit cringe to be reduced to, as the Guild puts it, parkas, politeness, and punchlines.
They don't love the fake Canadian version that we often see written out of LA with, you know, people putting maple syrup in their coffee.
Well, the snow's coming down pretty hard, but these intrepid fishermen are still happy to be out competing in Lake Athabasca's Bass Fishing Jamboree, an August 1st tradition.
From the idea that it's always winter here to suggestions that we are backwoods and boring.
Hey, what's up, ladies? Oh, you're from around these parts, eh? Yeah, I'm from Saskatchewan. That's up in Canada, eh? You American ladies, you've been out to Saskatchewan, eh?
The survey found Canadians often feel a bit typecast, but sometimes we play up the cliches ourselves.
You have 2 members of parliament in the nation's capital trying to avert the death of our national animal, our national symbol.
There was the time back in 2009 when 2 Cape Breton politicians called 911 to try and save a beaver stuck on a busy Ottawa street.
I stopped 6 lanes of traffic, and in about a half hour we had them return to the Ottawa River.
We're gonna gouge your eyes out and kick your head in! Sorry!
Of course, exaggerations aside, it's only Canadian to laugh at ourselves just a bit too. Ryan McDonald, CTV News, Sydney.
Isn't it the truth? Okay, that's your news for tonight. If you joined us late, you'd like another look at that story or anything we showed you tonight, CTVNewsAtlantic.ca. It's always your home for news. Sorry, but it is. I'm Bruce Frisco. Thanks for joining us tonight. Have a good evening, and we hope to see you again tomorrow.